Hey guys, it's Will. So I don't normally play the earnings calls, but this one's catching my eye. Kathy Wood just sold a huge chunk of Nvidia right before earnings. And while Mercadus, our new software, still in beta and it's mostly mock data and recently deployed, it's signaling some growth ahead as well. So as you can see here, Nvidia has been really selling off right before their earnings. They got up to around noon, about $137.25, and they just pulled down. So we're starting to see this move. And what we're saying is, hey, maybe we start to see a recovery right before earnings. We're already seeing it right at this moment. The reason I bring this up is because of this massive sell down right before earnings. And also, Nvidia has their earnings, you can see at 5 p.m. today. Their revenue has been increasing, right? Revenue increasing. While their net profit margins maybe have slimmed just a little bit or tapered off, their overall net income has been increasing, which is a good sign. But you did see Cathie Wood sell off a large portion of her Nvidia shares right before these earnings. And then this is where it gets interesting, right? Our new app here, Mercadus, where we can visualize different stocks. For the future price of Nvidia, it's saying that it's going to get up here to $144. Now, like I said, it's still in beta, but hey, if that's what it's saying, that's about a 7% swing, and it says that the daily chart shows breakout from key resistance, accumulation and distribution indicator shows strong institutional buying, and market breadth indicators suggest overall market strength supporting upward movement. So again, this is our beta software that has interchangeable AIs, and we are still in beta. But if you ever want access to this along with the markets network where you can see different companies and how they're connected, you can always head to the first link in the description to get that beta access. Now, when it comes to Nvidia, we started this video here. It's already recovering a little bit, about 1%. So what we might look for in a play as earnings are here and we might trade after hours would be NVDL. Is that right? Or NVDX. So NVDX, while the sell-off on Nvidia was really only about 2%, over here on NVDX it was 4%, and this recent recovery that we're seeing about a 1.8% rather than just a 0.9% recovery. So again, 2x, and we could see this V-shaped pattern. Gosh, it looks like it's playing out for Nvidia to possibly V-shape here. I think we might actually play it here, depending on, if this starts to hold and maybe consolidates out a little bit, this could be the move. And it's starting to break back above that EMA, which oftentimes acts as a resistance. Whew, there it is. We'll be watching it closely and seeing how it plays out in earnings. Couple things to note is that they recently have had some of their hiccups hit in China, where they were now having to change how they supply to China, maybe a little bit less. But then you have a little bit less of their high performing chips. But then you had Nvidia's chief says U.S. chip controls on China have backfired, essentially saying it's accelerating Chinese companies, motivating them to do more of their own chips. And also, when it comes to the spirit and energy of the government support to accelerate their development, they have that. So noting companies like Huawei was one of the companies that was mentioned. I think it was pretty apparent there's Huawei to build a stronger semiconductor space. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that Nvidia is not going to continue to sell to China, but now there's like some things that have come up that kind of put things in question. And the country accounted for $17 billion of Nvidia's revenue during the last fiscal year, which, if Nvidia reported $130 billion in global revenue during its last year, that's an increase of 100% year over year, but that's also a little bit over 10% of their revenue was in China. So again, with some of those things possibly lifting and then continuing to supply to China, the growth outlook looks good. The other thing to consider, every time they've reported earnings in the past few months, it seems like they've always reported earnings and continued to sell off, kind of that of AMD. Like they crush earnings even around the elections, and their peak really was right around the elections. They had some growth there, but again, like reporting earnings, selling down 5-10%, reporting earnings, in March, and then selling down all the way down to as low as $86 a share. And they've made a rally as of recently. They got the momentum working in their favor now, and we start to see them potentially push up into all-time highs, which in this case would be about a 10 to 20% swing. And so if it's going to happen, if it's going to continue up, right now's the time. I'm not most likely going to be trading it. It's possible. I kind of want to put Mercadus to the test and really see, how its AI predictions are doing here. And also I want to see, the swing that we're starting to catch in the near term. Like we just pointed out right at the start of this video, like this is a big dip right before earnings. For what reason? Maybe to drive scarcity or to potentially cause some distribution or retail selling. But nevertheless, I mean, if they have good earnings and investor sentiment continues to kick in, I mean, that 1% recovery definitely feels inevitable. But I think that's pretty small compared to the overall type of move we could see if they really break out at this moment. So we'll be watching Nvidia at earnings. And if you guys ever want to see how we trade in the mornings, it's the second link in the description. You get 7+ hours of fundamentals if you want a technical analysis and learn how we do our analysis, as well as getting into our earnings targets. So one thing that we also have available is the earnings targets. So if you head over to Stockmates in our group, there's some free books there. You can feel free to check out like this book right here. It's The Mindset of the Profitable Trader. I wrote this book a few years ago. You get it for free. Kind of the difference between ordinary, no plan versus in FOMO and pump and dumps versus patience, discipline, and then also kind of the how you learn and also examples of a trading plan and much more. But one of the things that we did have just come out is our new earnings for this week, and we have some targets that came out for Nvidia. And the price targets are fairly bullish, right? We're actually projecting up in this 170 range over the next few months. And so as they're reporting this week, this earnings call is key. And it's interesting because we see Mercadus, and you can go onto Nvidia here, and that's how it's looking. So potentially a $145 price point in the next day. Let's see if it plays out. It's at 135 now, and we'll see how it reacts here in earnings. Thanks so much for watching. But again, yeah, second link below for our daily live trading tomorrow morning, where we go live in Stockmates. You get a link each morning. And then if I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.